Graphic Lit pop-up author interview. Today we have Lydia Stryk. Lydia is going to talk about her book, The Teacher's Room. Lydia, how you doing? You good?
Oh, I'm fine, Felice. Thank you for doing this. I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you. And you're all the way in Berlin, so I know you're exhausted. So can you tell us a
Right.
little about The Teacher's Room?
Okay, I will. I'll tell you that I first discovered the story about lesbian teachers, by reading Lillian Faderman's amazing history of lesbian lives in America, Odd Girls and Twilight Lovers. And she had all these anecdotes about teachers because, of course, there were huge numbers of lesbian teachers in American schools and in the schools, and but they had to leave totally secret lives because it was illegal, and they were pillars of the community. They were working with children, so it was a very dangerous thing. So it was paradoxical because they were so many of the teachers were lesbians, but they had to be private and secret about it. So, and there was a lot of betrayal and, fear of discovery. So that kind of excited me. So that's how I came to decide to write a novel, because I'd never written one. I'm a playwright. And and then I began looking at the history, and then I discovered that, of course, there were all these women loving women in the profession, because there had been a teacher ban, I'm sorry, a marriage ban in the all over America from
Huh.
the late 1800s, even up through World War II, believe it or not. And my teachers, I was in one of the last generations that had these spinster school teachers. And because women were not allowed to become
Mm.
teachers if they were married, and they could not marry, or if they did marry, they had to leave. So who would
Wow.
want to do that job? A
Right.
lot of them were, of course, some were just dedicated to the profession, but many, 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 many were lesbians. And so that was the premise of this book. And I went back to 1963, a little bit before my time. But when the last of this marriage ban, all of these single teachers were swirling around. And I wanted to look at their passions, because spinster teachers in popular culture were always portrayed as sort of sexless, and taking their sexual frustrations out on their children, their students, or lavishing them with unnatural passions and all this, figures of fun. And I wanted to really show them. So this is a novel about a young teacher full of passion, falls madly in love with another of the teachers, and a lot goes on in the teacher's room that you will only find out if you read the book. And, I just had a lot of fun looking at women's lives, not only lesbians' lives, but women's lives, working women's lives, at a time when it was very, very dangerous for them to be women loving women, and especially in small towns like the one I write about. And all of these women would have to go into the big cities. They would get in cars with each other and meet in these big cities to live out their lives. Or they would live with their roommates and friends. And they did have a life, but it had to be very private, because the moment they were discovered, not only did they lose their jobs, their professional lives were over. So that's what the teacher's room is about.
Well, that's great. That was almost 5 minutes. So you just did all my questions in one answer.
Oh my
So thank you. That
God.
was really easy for
Yeah,
me. I just stand here, but I love the
yeah,
book. I mean, I loved it. I read it so fast. It just had that old school feel, and it just was like, what's going to happen? And I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. So if people want to buy the book, where can they
Yes.
find it?
I think on, well, you know better than I, where, on any website that sells books, I guess, right?
Okay. Yep,
I hope
absolutely.
so. I hope that you have a copy of it, but here it
I
is,
do. I
right?
love it.
It looks backwards in my screen,
It looks
but
perfect in mine.
yeah,
This
good,
was this was
because
great.
Yeah, and
All right.
I hope that what I did was make it enjoyable too,
You
and
definitely
full
did.
of,
I love
yeah.
it.
All
All right.
right.
Well, thank you. This was
Thank
great.
you. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Take care.